Hey there, Modern Math teacher. Kristen Moore here, your host on the Modern Math Teacher Movement. And today I just wanted to talk to you about some 15 real teacher truths from my 15 years in the classroom. This episode's a little bit different than most because this is episode 100, and I'm always telling you guys to keep it real. And so today I am just keeping it real with you. I have been teaching since 2010, and these are 15 things that I could think of that I wanted to share with you guys today, what they taught me, and why I will always keep it real in the classroom. So I wrote these down. We're going to go through them and let's unpack what I've learned in 15 years. So hopefully you can learn from them too. Number one, lesson plans are totally overrated. Okay, you guys, when I was in college, we had to write such detailed lesson plans. And I know that it's all changed since then. I know so many of us now can use AI tools and ChatGPT to help us with lesson plans. But honestly, you know your students the best. So no matter what curriculum you have, you know what to pick and choose and how to use that curriculum and your instructional practices to teach the students in your classroom. I'll never forget. Last year, I was cleaning out the closet that is like directly across from my office here. And there was a big bin in there, and it had all of these. Oh my gosh, they were probably 4-inch binders, right? Not even like 2 or 3. These were 4-inch. They were like the hard clasp binders, and they had the most outrageously detailed lesson plans in them from back in 2010 when I was doing my student teaching over at Walled Lake Western. Shout out to the Warriors. That was such a great time in my life. But it had all the printed slides, and I had detailed notes on what I wanted to talk about and all of this. Yeah, I used to write these crazy detailed lesson plans and minute by minute activities. And now that is just so not what I do now. Now I look at my lesson, I understand my goals. I know what I'm going to talk about that day, and I trust myself to think and feel in the moment how my students are doing and which parts of that lesson are going to resonate with them the most and what their instructional approach is going to be best for my kids minute by minute. Sometimes it even changes hour to hour. So if you are a newer teacher out there, yes, it's okay. You're going to be detailed lesson planning for a while, but trust yourself that intuition will come, and you will not be writing those forever. You will get that teacher intuition and you will be a-okay. Okay. Number two, instructional practices matter more than curriculum resources. Guys, a good curriculum will not fix a bad teacher, but a good teacher can fix a bad curriculum. I have taught so many different things, whether it was in a placement setting, a student teacher setting, if it was at my first real job where I didn't actually have any curriculum and I was inventing it all on the spot, or if I have been using my experience with ad reports being a reviewer. And gosh, guys, I used to get giant boxes filled with textbooks that I would scour through. Okay. There are so many different curriculums out there. It really doesn't matter which one you get. Look at the curriculum, pick and choose the best parts from it. You don't have to necessarily teach it to fidelity. Don't tell anyone I told you that. Actually, tell everyone, okay? It's really your instructional practices that matter more than the curriculum resources. Yes, if you get a great curriculum, that's awesome. You'll end up using so much of it, right? And if you have kind of a crummy curriculum, that's okay. That happens. Everyone's going to get the crap curriculum once in a while. So you just have to know that your instructional practices are going to matter more than what your textbook is, okay? What you are doing in the classroom, how are you facilitating that learning, how you are getting your students to engage in the thinking and active problem solving. That matters so much more than whatever the resource is that tells you what unit you're on and what lesson this is. Unit 7, lesson 2 could be, I don't know, sequences, or it could be graphing exponential functions. It doesn't actually matter what it is. That's just what a textbook told you to do, but it's the instructional practices that you're using daily in your classroom with your students that matters so much more to them learning effectively. So keep sharpening those instructional practices. That is always what I would suggest to you. That is what you should keep working your PD on. Read those awesome books, practice those practices. Get with your PLC and see what you can do. See and learn from other teachers in your building about what practices are working in their classroom. That's going to help you figure out what's going to work in your classroom. Okay, you guys, it is never about the resource. It is always about what you as the teacher do with it and with the students in your room. Okay. Now, speaking of the students in your room, I want you to know that some battles are not worth fighting over. Okay. Some battles with your students are not worth fighting over. You do not need to chase down every dress code violation or battle over bathroom passes. Okay. This is just going to drive you nuts. I want you to go ahead and pick and choose the ones that are going to matter to you based on how they're going to impact your classroom culture. Okay. So, build relationships with your students. That's what they always tell us. Focus in on the things that matter most to your classroom, being that productive, safe learning environment for your students, and let the other battles go. Okay. The hills I'll die on early in my career, those are not at all the ones that I would die on today. So choose wisely and make sure that you are protecting your energy. Okay. Number 4, some things have to be black and white. This actually kind of goes along with that line because the more you blur the lines, the messier it's going to get. Okay. The sooner you go gray with your expectations, your procedures, your protocols, whatever it is, i.e., in my classroom, it's always cell phones. I have to be black and white because the second I go gray, right? I thought I could manage it sometimes, or if they finish early. Nope. Nope. It's not worth it. It is a slippery slope, my friends. Be clear, be firm, then you can actually have freedom. So, going back to number 3, pick the battle that matters most to you and then be black and white about it. Okay. So 3 and 4 go together. Now, number 5, speaking of technology, cell phone, things like that, guys, technology is not going to replace you. Okay. You are a teacher, you are a professional, you are an expert. Say it with me, say it back to me. I am an expert. Okay. AI, apps, digital tools, all of those things are incredible and they free you up to be the best teacher you can be so that you can use those resources and tools to support the instructional practices that I want you to be focused in on so that you are being the classroom teacher that you can be. Okay. It can enhance your outcomes. All of this cool tech can, right? It's going to free you up to do more of what you love in the classrooms, building those relationships, engaging your students in that classroom dialogue. But technology is never just going to replace you. Okay. So use tech to take tasks off your plate, give your students more ownership, and make your classroom run smoother, not to just replace you. You now get to be the best version of you. And that is my favorite aspect of having any sort of blended classroom is that the technology is there to support the students in an individual way that I can't, and I'm there to support the students in an individual way that no technology could ever replace. Okay. All right. Let's see. Talk about more replacement. Okay. Number 6 on my list. I told you guys, I just wrote down 10 things. Actually, I word vomited them into a notes app. So here you go. This is me coming at you completely real, raw, whatever it is. Number 6. Tech does not replace real hands on math. Okay. Technology is super cool. Everybody likes tech. It's fun to play with, right? Playing Angry Birds online, totally cool, totally fun. But it was no substitute for actually building the towers and knocking them down. Okay. So when I was first teaching at a charter school called Flex Tech. Shout out to all my Flex Tech friends. I love you and would not be the teacher I am today without you guys. We would play Angry Birds online and it was awesome. It would hook the kids in. Angry Birds was super popular at the time, but nothing was better than when I went out and I got those cardboard bricks. They're like red, blue, yellow. I think really more like kindergarten teachers and early child care centers have these things, but I bought them. We built towers outside with those and with boxes. And my students had to actually build physical projectiles to play Angry Birds in the parking lot. They were launching real tennis balls at them. And there's nothing that can replace that. Yes, the tech was cool because it helped us come up with a cool, smooth model and it gave us a frame of reference to talk about it. But absolutely nothing beats seeing my students design these crazy projectiles and launching them at something. Oh my gosh, speaking of launching them at something, the rocket project. You know it, I know it, we love it. I've done this so many different ways with different projectiles. And this is why I only do it as a rocket project now because it used to just be a projectile project. And that was awesome. I would take our students, my coworker Liz and I, shout out to Liz, one of my favorite PLC members from afar. She and I still talk about these things to this day. We took our students out to the pond in a local town and we had them build projectiles, right? Potato cannons, all sorts of things that, like catapults, anything that could get over this pond. And we had a bullseye on one side and all the students were launching on the other, and she was the smart one. She stayed over with the students who were launching and got them ready to go, and I was on the bullseye side. You guys, I do not ever recommend standing on the bullseye side, standing directly in the path of impact. I can still remember one student, they misjudged their PSI, and there was this crazy tennis ball covered in black electrical tape just like shot at me like a crazy cannon. So mistakes can happen. And again, tech's not going to replace that. Those are the hands-on real life learning moments that we get to learn from. But also, side note, don't do just a projectile project. That's why I only do the rocket project now. Okay. Those are definitely the moments with kids, and you are going to remember it forever. They're messy, they're loud, they're hands-on. It is real world math at its finest, and it beats digital simulations every single time. Okay. All right. With that, big kids like to have fun too. Okay. You don't have to just save that kind of fun stuff for elementary. Okay. Don't leave games and activities just for our little friends, because the big ones like to play games and get active too. I have done chalk or painter's tape transversals. So you get those up on the floor, you get a twister spinner and you spin it and it says vertical angles, and the kids have to go and jump to a pair of vertical angles, and then somebody has to check them. And then you spin it again and it's alternate exterior, and they go jump to the alternate exterior. They're out there, they're having fun. They're playing like a cool version of hopscotch and twister all in one. It's so much fun, right? Spreading disease. Sure, we can do simulations where we see how quick zombies take over a town, but man, when we get that glow germ powder out and we shake it on somebody's hand and we see how quickly they can like high five and get it to go all the way around the room, and then you send them to go wash their hands and bring them back and you check with the light, and they just clearly do not know how to wash their hands, guys. It is so much fun. The kids laugh, we laugh. You can see how things are happening in real life. Okay. So have fun with them, whether it is flying kites. I love the kite project, getting to build the kites and see my kids run outside to the parking lot and try to fly them. And shocker, some of them just did not fly. So make sure that you have them test them. But that was so fun. And anytime we do a probability project and the students are making their own games and they get to just play them for an hour and have a good time and interact with math in this real and beautiful and authentic way, it's just the best, you guys. So, you know what? Big kids like to have fun too. Please make sure you do something fun with your students for me this week, okay? All right. Other things to think of. Oh, what is old will be new again. So there we go. Some strategies just stand the test of time. I like to think of the 5 practices for orchestrating mathematics discussions, productive mathematics discussions. I know I'm going to get this one wrong. I definitely read that when I was in college learning how to become a teacher. And those practices are still things we reference today. Building thinking classrooms had this like great resurgence for everybody in bringing back some tried and true best practices, because Peter Liljedahl did a fantastic job putting them all together into these 4 toolkits for us and saying like, "Hey, look at all this fantastic research. Here's how you can do it systematically in your classroom." And people are eating it up. I thought that was a book that maybe was never going to see, past my sophomore year of college. But it's one I still reference to this day. It's all sticky noted up right over there with all of my teaching books. So things like that are always going to come back around. And my gosh, the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, right? That was a thing when I was very first teaching at Flex Tech, and my students actually engaged in a project called Change the Challenge, where they had to come up with their own viral challenge, right? But you know what? My kids are doing that ice bucket challenge right now too. It's for a different cause, but it is back. Okay. So what's old will be new again. Trends, you can always mix them in, right? But just keep that in mind. If it's best practice at one point, it's going to be best practice again. So keep those things in your back pocket and always think about that. All right, let's see. Number 9. Here we go. We're getting there. Laugh with your kids. Okay. Don't be so uptight. Have a good time with your students. Your classroom doesn't need to be like, a comedy club, but it does need to be joyful. Okay. Here's some real talk from my classroom. I one time said circumcise instead of circumscribe. Yep, that was real. And that was hilarious to all of my students and completely mortifying to me. Anytime you accidentally pose a question and the answer is 69, can you teach your students to swear in math? Holy shift, check out the asymptote on that mother function. Okay, do it. Just have fun, enjoy the laughs. I can't tell you how many times my kids were like, "What the hexagon is going on in here?" And it's a lot of fun. It's a great way to liven up what can sometimes be a very anxiety inducing subject. So laugh with your kids. If something funny comes up, just laugh, seize the moment, enjoy it. Okay. You're all going to feel a little bit better about it. Some of my, favorite teaching memories have started with these kind of slip ups or the sarcasm. And letting a little chaos in for the sake of connection is key for everything. Okay. I think I've got 5 more. Okay, let's do this. You can't teach them all the things, so teach them the right ones. Guys, you're never gonna get to it all. Promise you that. I've seen so many curriculums that have, up to like 14 sections. That is just not possible. Okay. So trying to cover it all is just going to lead to burnout for you and your students. Instead, I want you to focus on depth over breadth. Figure out what's most important for your students to know and lean into the lessons and projects that are actually going to stick with your students and build on the concepts and applications that matter most. Okay. Here's your permission slip. Don't teach it all. Pick the right ones to teach. Do a fantastic job teaching them. It's going to serve your students better and it's going to serve your own personal sanity better. Okay. All right. Here's a tough one for us that I distinctly remember doing a project in college for this. Teacher truth, you are not your student savior, and that is not your job. I know so many of us grew up watching these incredible movies about the most incredible teachers, whether it was, Stand and Deliver or Freedom Writers. To Sir with Love, so many great, fantastic teachers who were out there laying it all on the line for their students. And we had to do a project about how that's not necessarily real and how that can lead to more burnout and actually make you feel worse and like less of an impact. I remember being like completely thrown off getting this project and I'm grateful now that I have done that because, you know, you can be that safe adult for them. You can be a great teacher. You can be the bright spot in a student's day, but you can't fix everything. And I just need you to know that it's okay. It's okay to set boundaries and to protect your energy while still showing up for your students, with love and with empathy and being there for them with what you can. But you don't have to do it all. Okay, so be present, be kind, be consistent, okay? And that's enough, and really that's everything you need. Okay. All right, let's keep moving on. Number 12, mastery doesn't happen on a schedule. It doesn't matter what your lesson plans are. Sometimes your kids just aren't going to get there, okay? They're going to need more time on this unit than you actually thought possible. And sometimes it's just going to be individual students who just need the more time. So, you know, it doesn't mean your kids are behind. It doesn't mean you are behind. Everyone just kind of learns at their own pace. So this is where things like self-pacing, retakes, blended instruction, all of that came from, realizing that real learning doesn't follow a calendar. Mastery isn't about finishing first. It's about getting there, period, right? Claps to that. It's about getting there. It's about mastering the content. So don't be phased if it doesn't happen on your schedule, on what your pacing guide says. Okay. Um, you are also not just teaching math, you are teaching humans. Yes. So, you can be the best content expert in the world. You can know math like the back of your hand. You can be excited to go like dive into some super nerdy math problem, and I'll probably nerd out and do it with you, right? But if your students don't feel like they are seen, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you know all the math and that you can show them how to do it and they can follow the procedures. The real impact comes from how you make your students feel and not just what they remember from the lesson. So, we can't be their savior, but we can be a safe space and we can show them that we value them and that they matter to us and that, we can connect with them. And whether math is their favorite or their least favorite, start with a connection because that's where the math is going to stick. Okay, 2 more teacher truths for you on this episode 100, which is a little longer than I thought. I'm actually pretty proud of myself, that I can keep rambling this long. So, momentum is greater than perfection. Progress is greater than perfection. I will take that any day. Guys, I have done so many projects or lessons, and even this podcast before I was ready for it, okay? Sometimes it is just better to start messy and see how it goes than it is to wait for it to be perfect. You're never going to have the perfect lesson plan. Go back to point 1. Lesson plans are overrated, okay? You are never going to have the best project, the most authentic assessment. Whatever it is, whether it's a lesson, a project, or a podcast episode, just go with it, okay? Go with it, try with it, see with it, learn from it, keep going, keep stumbling and falling forward, okay? Uh, Done and real for sure beats polished and delayed every single time. So, if you've got an idea you think it's going to be awesome for you as an individual or your classroom or whatever it is, just start. Give it a try. What's the worst that happens? It wasn't great. Now you know, at least you've tried. Okay? And that brings me to number 15. You guys, keep it real. Okay? Every kid, every class, every hour, every year is going to be different. But if you lead with authenticity, your true self, connection, curiosity, you're always going to get on the right path. You're always going to be the teacher that your students needed right then. You guys, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be present and you have to be real with them. Okay? Be real with them. They'll be real with you. And if you can, try to incorporate as many real world applications as you can. You know, I'm your girl for that. So if you need help coming up with some real world applications for whatever it is you're teaching, whether it's graphing trigonometric functions, or coordinate geometry, whatever it is, I'm your girl. Hit me up in the DMs. And thank you guys so much for 100 amazing episodes. I can't believe we've gotten here. This all just kind of started as a dream, getting to talk with all of you and share ideas. So thank you for being here and listening in to this week's episode of the Modern Math Teacher Podcast. That's it for episode 100. I will see you in the next episode. And as always, keep it real.